Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of EverythingAction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of December 25th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach, and we're closing out this year with a solo show. Chris is still traveling for Christmas. He was in Chicago and other places over the holiday break here, so it's just going to be me wrapping things up for 2023. And because it's the weird week between Christmas and New Year's Day, where there's pretty much nothing happening, there's no news, there's not really anything streaming, there's no new movies in theaters. I thought I would talk about my top 10 best movies of 2023 and my top 5 worst movies of 2023. These are both lists that were on everythingaction.com. You can go check it out and read them if you wanted. Um, but this is the audio version of those lists. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about the worst movies first. And my starting from number 5, my fifth worst movie that I saw last year. Maybe it's probably something of a hot take, but I put Five Nights at Freddy's. I know I've heard from a lot of people who are fans of the franchise that like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie actually gave them like everything they were looking for. Like they loved it. It was full of references to the games, references to like things that are going to happen possibly in sequels. I have not really played any of the games. I don't have any sort of love for the lore or the franchise, so I was going in kind of just wanting like a fun, spooky horror movie, and it failed to even deliver that for me. Like it was just kind of like boring. Um, it was super repetitive. Josh Hutcherson felt like he was just sleepwalking and so bored that like he didn't want to be there. The only saving grace was the animatronics, like the Jim Henson characters that got created for like Freddy Fazbear and all the other characters were spectacular, but it feels like they just definitely deserve like a better movie because they were kind of wasted here. They didn't really get to do much. And the one scene where they actually like stalk around and like kill the people that break into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, like that's what I kind of was hoping the whole movie would be. And we still have not cracked the nut of this animatronics coming to life in a pizza place killing people movie, because Willy's Wonderland was not great. This wasn't great. Somewhere maybe like if we took parts of both of those and maybe some parts from like the Banana Splits movies, maybe we'll get like a movie that fits like this kind of idea, but the best. But hopefully the sequel, because there's definitely gonna be a sequel because it made so much tons of money based on what the budget was. Um, Hopefully the sequel is like kind of more of what I'm hoping it would be, which is animatronics going around killing people and maybe less on ghost kids and the same dream over and over again and constant lore jumps. And but we'll see. It might even lean harder into that stuff because that's what the fans want and love. But yeah, number 5, Five Nights at Freddy's. Was not a fan. Maybe if I played the games, I would have loved it, but I did not. And then my number 4 worst movie of the year was The Flash, the DC EU movie, which actually it started out pretty okay. Like the first third of that movie is actually pretty fun with the dueling Ezra Millers and Michael Keaton coming back as Batman and all that kind of stuff, and the sort of setup with the multiverse and the alternate universe where there's no more superheroes. But that movie just turns into sludge, just absolute superhero, the worst aspects of any superhero movie, uh, and then CG messes of these balls of the multiverse smashing into each other, and it's just empty fan service for like just showing you things like Adam West's Batman or like George Reeves Superman or like Christopher Reeve's Superman or Nicolas Cage Superman. It's just like, but they don't do anything. It's just they're like, hey, look, it's them. Clap. You know them. Adam West Batman. Like all these other things we're showing you, and it's like, and then if you compare that to like No Way Home, where it was this kind of similar idea, but then you had like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming in, like actually like contributing to the plot, having their own arcs, like actually contributing to the story. This was just like regular media says all the time, like I saw it and I clapped. Like this is just like they're just expecting you to clap and like love it because it's a thing it's a reference that you know. But it was just so, and then it didn't amount to anything. Just like they kind of like smash into each other, and they kind of, and then like they kind of like move away from each other, and nothing really happens. And then everything like Zod, and then it's like the like Groundhog Day of just like constantly killing Supergirl and Batman, which also doesn't really get resolved. It's just kind of like, oh, I guess I have to stop doing this, but then we don't really get any sort of like resolution of like, are they okay? Did like what happened to that universe? That universe just ended or something, I guess. So yeah, I mean, and then also the CW Flash show also ended, and also ended terribly. So it was not a great year for Barry Allen or DC or that kind of superheroes in general, I guess. And then speaking of the DC, slightly worse than the Flash to me was Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is my number three worst movie of the year. Um, Super high hopes for because the first movie was so fun. It was like the simple, fun, uh, kind of like origin story. It's exactly what you want from like an origin story, where it's just like this kid figuring out that he's a superhero and like trying to figure out his powers, and fun montages of him discovering his powers. And it kept things simple. It kept things simple. It kept things. Um, there wasn't a lot of side plots or complications going on. It was just learning his powers and dealing with the bad guy. And then Fear the Gods was just a mess of this villain plot that didn't make any sense, where you never really understood what Helen Mirren or Lucy Liu wanted to do, because it seemed like they were constantly changing what they were trying to do, or like they never really explained like why they wanted like these like various MacGuffins and what they were going to do with MacGuffins, and then they got the MacGuffin, then it turned out they didn't want to do something with the MacGuffin, they wanted to do something else, and then everything with Rachel Zegler was weird, and then giving all of Billy's like siblings side plots and like trying to give them all arcs because obviously spoilers in the first movie that they all got superpowers, and it's just like some of them are just like the most bare bones, like they like it's like there's one scene where it's like, oh, this is my arc, I'm not afraid of this anymore, like I learned this now, or like, and just it was so much trying just jam so much into it. They made it so overcomplicated, so away from what made the first movie great, which is just a simple, funny, fun origin story. Now it's just like this like complicated mess of all these subplots, all these characters, all these different things happening, and it also just like that. This and the Flash also like none of it matters because obviously we know uh now that Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom's out, like it's done. None of this matters. It's wiped out. This universe is dead. James Gunn and Peter Safran are coming and reboot the whole thing, so it's none of these DC movies. It's like why should you even care, or like what, like they're setting like there's like post credit scenes in Shazam and the Flash. There's like, well, I guess, let's say the Flash, but definitely Shazam had post credit scenes that they're never gonna follow through on, and it's like why did they even keep these if they knew it was gonna end? Like why even show this? We're never gonna we're never gonna explore Mr. Mind or whatever or they're trying to set up like two movies now of Mr. Mind set up that we're never gonna get to. So yeah, I mean I haven't seen Aquaman. Hopefully I'm hoping it's just like I'll see it on probably like Max in a little bit. Hopefully it's just like kind of dumb fun like the first movie. But uh, sh- yeah, Shazam and the Flash not really a great way to like wrap up this era of DC movies. And then my number two worst movie of the year was Hypnotic, the Robert Rodriguez Ben Affleck movie, where Rodriguez is trying to be Christopher Nolan and failing spectacular at it. Which it's just such a weird tonally and like visually. It has no sort of uh like Robert Rodriguez identity to it. Like if you just showed someone this and said like guess who the like the director of this movie is, in like 20 guesses they probably would not say Robert Rodriguez. Like there's nothing of his visual style at play. It's like it's totally trying to ape Christopher Nolan with like the folding kind of very Inception, like the folding city and the all the uh you know mind stuff going on. Like oh we're like inside your brain, or like this is like it's not real. This is not it's like happening in a different like what you're seeing is not real kind of thing. but none of it's interesting. It's all stupid. It's all really stupid and boring. Um, Probably one of the most hilarious moments of the entire year, like, I mean, like, hilariously bad, is when you find out the truth of like what's going on to Ben Affleck, where you see him go through this entire kind of mystery plot of like what happened to his daughter, and then there's a twist halfway through where they reveal like, oh, this is what's actually happening, and it's people driving around in golf carts, like going to like these shitty looking like metal structures and like the back lot, which I think it's Robert Rodriguez's like actual like his like backyard or like his like Troublemaker Studios back lot, and but it's just like they they, they reenact the like, oh, you saw this in the beginning of the movie, now here it is, just the truth about it. Isn't this crazy? But it's just like Ben Affleck in a golf cart driving driven around places and then pressing like fake buttons, and it's supposed to be this like mind blowing twist, but it's so stupid and cheap looking and terrible. It's just it's hilarious in how bad it is. And then all the other like it just like keeps throwing twists at the like just these like twists of like, oh, you thought this is what the movie's about? It's actually this. Oh, you thought that's what it is? Stupid. Now it's this. And it thinks like just constantly throwing twists at you, especially in the last like 2/3 of the movie, is interesting. That's what makes it interesting, and not like trying to come up with like one or two interesting twists. Just like throw like five twists at you and see if that helps anything. And Ben Affleck is also just like so bored and uninterested, and like seems like he's dying inside this entire movie. So he's not a fun presence to watch. Yeah, Hypnotic, not great. Maybe it might be if you have a group of friends and you're like getting drunk or stoned, or if you want to see like a like take down a hilariously bad movie, like maybe that like this would fit the bill, but just watching it as a movie, it's not good. And then speaking of not good, my number one worst movie of the year, it kind of pains me to say it, but it's unfortunately true. Expendables 4, aka Expendables, uh, because at one point Expendables was like probably one of our favorite franchises of all time, and everything action. Like Expendables 2 is one of our favorite movies. It's such of like what everything that we love and like everything we talk about with like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis and Chuck Norris and Dolph Lundgren and Scott Adkins and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and just everything about Expendables 2 is like our like ethos for our site. It's just like if you took our site and like threw in the AI and told to make a movie, like it'd probably be like close to Expendables 2. But Expendables 3 was such a big disappointment as because it was like it's PG-13 and it had all these like no name, or like I guess they were famous but like not in like the like 80s and 90s action hero films. Like, hey, it's a bunch of like MMA fighters and soccer players and they're expendables now. It's like I don't care. Like it's maybe this plays internationally. Like people are like in like Brazil or like super like excited, or like South America are super excited as soccer players in this movie, but it just didn't have the same like level of excitement for action movie fans. Like it's where like this boxer is not the same level as like Chuck Norris. And yeah, PG definitely hurt it as well. And I mean, Mel Gibson was an okay villain, but yeah, Expendables 3 was like such a kind of disappointment. But then we're going into Expendables 4. It was like, oh, we're R-rated again. Like, don't worry, we know it's gonna be R-rated. We got Ego Uwe there. We got Tony Jaa. So it's like, oh man, we're gonna have some awesome action. We're gonna have some, crazy over top violence. And then it was just so bad. Like it was just everything about it. It just felt so cheap. Like everything looked like it was shot on like a green screen or like a really terrible set. Or they clearly had one set. They had like this ship, this like freighter ship set, because 2/3 of the movie takes place on this freighter ship, and that's it. Like, oh, I hope you like this ship because you're gonna be there for the almost the entire movie. And there's a lot of shots that feel like it was shot in, like the volume, where it's like clearly there's like someone's not in the spot. There's like standing in front of this like fake, night sky, or like outside a building. It's like fake city outside them. And then the whole fact that like Stallone basically has more of an extended cameo than just co-starring in it, like he always has. Like it just feels like Stallone was like not into this at all. It's like I'll show up, but like I'm not. I'm doing Tulsa King. That's what I care about now. Like in my reality show. Like I don't know who like was, I guess, Statham, because this feels like a Statham movie with like everyone else is kind of just like a supporting character. So I don't know if like Statham was like the one driving this of like we got to make Expendables 4, but It's just yeah, this the fact that like Stallone just like ducks out, like literally like bails out, like the first like 20 minutes of this movie, and then everyone else like replacing him are just like totally all the new Expendables are just like totally understing. They don't even have like any. They don't even have like a fun like quirk or like a fun like kind of like specialty. It's just like, hey, it's Megan Fox, it's 50 Cent, it's Andy Garcia. They're here. It's them. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm like I'm like the demolitions expert or I'm the tech guy or they don't have like a fun like GI Joe like specialty. It's just like it's me. I'm a character. I'm a CIA character. I'm in the CIA. That's my job. Like, and like the main Expendables who are left like don't really have much to do either. Like Dolph Lundgren or like Randy Couture, um, that don't really have that much to do. And and then the fact that they have like Iko Uwais and Tony Jaa, they don't really have that many great fights. There's like one okay fight between Iko Uwais and Jason Statham, and then there's like a kind of like a three-way fight between Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais, and then the other the other new expendable like the other new female expendable, who I think is like a some sort of martial arts person. Uh, yeah, Levi Tran. Like they have a okay fight, but I mean, it's not nearly enough. And then like there's like this like car chase kind of convoy fight in like this like abandoned like military base that is just like so generic and like nothing interesting or cool happens in it. And also like the opening is like the opening like third of this movie is like so weirdly paced where there is a plot happening where Iko Uwais is like attacking this like I think it's like Iraq or is like some sort of like Middle Eastern country that has a nuclear bomb or like nuclear tech, and he's attacking his base. But then you're cutting to Stallone and Statham, and they're like having a wacky like Expendables bar fight, and then cut back to Tony like Iko Uwe, and he's still in this country attack like trying to like get this information, and then like cut to like the Expendables like, oh, we're on this mission now, but then cut to Iko Uwe still like in this country, like it's like, is this taking place over multiple days? Is this like a couple hours? Like this like pace, like the way this is like edited and paced is like just makes absolutely no sense. So just I mean pretty much on every level, Expendables 4 just a total disappointment, total disaster. Uh, like obviously it did not do well at the box office. No one cared to see this. No one went to see it. I don't know why they even made it because like the Expendables 3 wasn't exactly like a box office like sensation. And I mean, hopefully this is the end of the franchise. I mean, we got one good movie, one great movie, and then two terrible movies. So I mean, at least we got Expendables 2 out of this. That's the only silver lining of this whole thing. So that's the worst movies of the year for me. Let's get into my top 10 best movies of the year. And oh, actually, let me just a couple of honorable mentions for worst movies. Honorable mentions: Heart of Stone, the Netflix Gal Gadot movie. Super generic, super boring, super uninteresting. Like when you're watching, it's fine, and then immediately you'll like just immediately forget it after you watch it. You'll just be like, I don't even remember anything that happened in that movie. I watched it like 5 minutes ago. And then Haunted Mansion, the new Disney movie. Just such a like just has no idea what it wants to be. Like it just want to be like a comedy, doesn't want to be serious, doesn't want to be scary. It just never like latches on to like an actual like constant tone, and then just like doesn't like it just like the plot just kind of just goes and doesn't really have any arcs or like it just get like just it just is there. It's like it's not really compelling. It's just like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then now we gotta do this, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, and it's way too long. It's like I think it's over 2 hours long. This should have been like 90 minutes. I watched it on Disney Plus. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater to see this. It's not even like that was it's not even like a fun like spooky Halloween fun movie to watch during that time. It's just sort of like yeah, just a mess, overlong mess of like tonal like super like there's parts that are super dark and then parts that are trying to be super funny and then it's just like it all clashes and doesn't work at all together. So that's it for the worst movie. Let's get into the best movies. So top 10, starting with number 10. My number 10 movie was Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. just a completely surprising, absolutely super fun, very Guardians of the Galaxy, but in a fantasy setting with just lots of great set pieces that really play up and really have like super inventive, creative uses for like all the like D&D magic and items and spells and weapons. And the cast is just fantastic. They all have like super great chemistry with each other, and especially Chris Pine. Chris Pine just seems like he's having an absolute blast and is just nailing like just like absolutely hilarious. The scene where like they like create like a clone of him to like kind of distract the guards, and it's like this magical clone that like starts malfunctioning is just like a great bit of like comedy for Chris Pine. And then when Reggie Jean Paul comes in and is just like steals the show as like this paladin, and everyone's just like in awe of him, and like are just like, and he's just like perfect in every way, and also but also has that like kind of like Drax, like he doesn't understand sarcasm or humor. He's like very like serious and um intentional with everything he does, and that's like a great kind of like straight man comedy like all the other wacky characters. So D&D Armor Thieves, fantastic. Hopefully we get more. I don't. It didn't do that great at the box office, so we'll have to see. Number nine for me for best movies of the year was Sisu, the Finnish revenge movie. That was just a super tight, great, over the top, grindhousey. It kind of feels like a side story in like the Glorious Bastards universe. Um, and it's a fantastic central performance from Jorma Tamila as this soldier who this Finnish soldier who wants to be a gold miner. He actually like strikes it rich. He finds like this massive load of gold, but then there's Nazis in the area, and they take the gold, and then he has to get it back and like kill them all in like over the top, gruesome, crazy ways. And it definitely like it's not too like it definitely has a sense of humor. Like it knows like it's over the top, and it really leans into it. And like a lot of the kills are gruesome, but they're gruesome in a way that's like really hilarious, and like you're like laughing at how insane it is and how like gruesome it is. And all by the end of the movie, it's also it just like ramps up in a way where by the end it's just like so Joe Martimillo is basically just like a super like he's like a Captain America type where he's just like climbing onto airplanes while they're flying and like doing all this like impossible stuff. But yeah, it's a fantastic. It's a tight, if you want just a tight, fun, brutal like revenge movie. It's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. My number eight best movie is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, which continues this kind of modern era of Mission Impossible, with great practical stunts like death-defying stunts from Tom Cruise, where it's just like what insanity is Tom Cruise going to do with this movie? And this one it was the jumping a motorcycle off a mountain and then parachute like kind of what is it, flight suit wingsuit flying off away from the mountain, which is a crazy. It's just like a crazy sequence of the movie, and there's like a ton of other like great sequences, like an awesome car chase, and it's kind of like Born Identity, kind of like, or like was it Born Supremacy or Ultimatum, the one like where they had like the airport, kind of like you have to navigate through the airport and like avoid people sequence. You kind of get that with like in the opening where like Tom Cruise has to find Haley Atwell and like get her, and then like kind of avoid like the bad guys and try to get out of this airport. And one thing that makes all the Mission Impossible movies like these current ones great is like this mix of like humor and action, where it's like this crazy action is going on, but also there's like a lot of like just fun like interaction between all the characters. Like like Benji Simon Pegg is just like making all these comments or like freaking out, and Tom Cruise is like trying to like make calm him down, or like trying to like is reacting like he's like reacting to like what's happening to him. It's just like, can you believe I'm like jumping on this mountain right now? Like this is crazy. And so there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of like the big cartridge sequence. There's a lot of great like Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise have like this. They're like handcuffed in this weird way where and they like don't like each other, so it's like but they have to like deal with the situation. The one thing I will say is like the main villain, like the entity, which is like this like rogue AI, feels a little too powerful. Maybe like it's like it literally can do anything. So it kind of like it's just like they just keep making up things they can do, and it kind of there's like no rules for what it can do. So it kind of like it's just like you don't really have a sense like what the limit is or like what like how do you stop it because it just seems so insanely powerful. And it's also a part one, obviously, so we don't really get a conclusion to like we get sort of a conclusion to like this arc, but then there's like it's not. anywhere near close to the end of the story. So we got to find out what's going on in the next movie, and hopefully the next movie like lives up to like this movie and kind of like concludes in a satisfying way. There's definitely a lot of like character stuff that is kind of just like set up here that is clearly gonna be set up and hopefully fleshed out in the next movie. Especially like Simon Morales, like his villain is, I mean, he's great, but it's just like there's this tie to Ethan's past that they like kind of just like this happens, and then hopefully, I mean, we'll get more of that. Hopefully, get more in the next movie because like he's kind of just like a blank slate right now. We don't really have like any sort of like idea of like why he's working for the entity and like what his like goals are. But I mean, yeah, just fun, like huge big action sequences, and like it's great. A lot of it's practical. You can, like really, like, they really smash cars, they really jump motorcycles off cliffs. They really did a bunch of this stuff. So if you like the Mission Impossible movies, like this one was another like great entry. I don't know if it's as good as like I think I would put it like below Fallout and then like Rogue Nation. Probably like the of like the last couple, it's probably the weakest ones of like the last couple. But I mean, the weakest Christopher McQuarrie Mission Impossible movie is like better than like 80% of stuff that's like other movies that are out there. So still a great movie. Number seven for me, Super Mario Bros. Movie, just an absolute hilarious, like super fun blast. I mean, it looked absolutely stunning, like some of the best animation of the year. Um, and just all the characters look exactly how you would want them to look. Um, if you're a fan of the games, and just like so much love and attention to like all these like references and Easter eggs, and there's definitely something for like a fan from any sort of era of Super Mario. Like if you're a fan of like Odyssey, or if you go all the way back to like the NES days, there's something for everyone. So yeah, just a great like for fans of Super Mario and like the Mario franchise as a whole, it's great. Jack Black, just absolutely hilarious, just great as Bowser. Probably definitely one of the highlight movies is Jack Black. He does a great job of like he can be threatening, like it's like like the opening Bowser is like a really like actually like threatening villain, but then like next scene he'll be like playing piano, singing Peaches and being like absolutely like pathetic loser, goofy Bowser. So it's like he does a great job flipping back and forth, and then the rest of the voice cast is great as well, or pretty good. I mean, Chris Pratt, there was all this like hubbub about him playing Mario, and he's fine. He's perfectly fine as Mario. Um, so yeah, I mean, just Super Mario, just absolute like just pure fun. Um, just and like one of the better video game adaptations of all time, and definitely excited to see more from Illumination. If they get a chance to do more kind of Nintendo movies, like I'm obviously they're probably gonna do like they're definitely doing a Super Mario Brothers movie sequel, but we'll have to see if they get any other properties. I'd love to see them do like a Star Fox movie or like Metroid, or I mean they're not doing Legend of Zelda, we know that, but hopefully maybe we'll get more from like this like their Nintendo side of things. So my number six movie of the year, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. Just another just absolute fun blast of a movie, like just like super funny, super fresh, tons of action, and like visually incredible. Like it's similar to Spider-Verse, but it definitely does its own thing. Like it's clearly inspired by Spider-Verse, but it does its own unique thing where it's more of the art style is more of like kind of like the script, like if a kid was like scribbling in his notebook and like making up all these like weird monsters and like coming up with all these like weird creatures. That's kind of like the look of, and then maybe like graffiti art or something. Like it's just like this like super unique, super like great art style that like really like adds like a ton of like uh unique style, and like especially like the action and like the character designs. It's like it's familiar, but you've never seen any of these characters look like this before in any other Turtles movie or TV show or anything like that. It's just it's its own fresh, new, interesting thing, and the voice cast is great. Like it's fun to have where the turtles are actual like teenagers, and they have this like really high energy uh, interaction with each other, where they're like talking over each other, and bringing up like stuff that teens like right now are interested in, like uh, improv and TikTok and Fortnite and stuff. But it works because like they're actual teenagers. And all the like mutants that show up are great. I mean, especially like Paul Rudd kind of steals the movie as Mondo Gecko, where he like instantly bonds with Michelangelo. They have like the same vibe. And Ice Cube is Superfly is just fantastic. Jackie Chan as Splinter is just like such a weird, fun take on that character. Like you've never seen like Splinter like this before, and like before this movie. And just the fact they give like Jackie Chan a Jackie Chan action scene basically in the animation form is just incredible. And just tons of great references, tons of great Easter eggs for like Turtles fans. Like there's like music references and no, background stuff and setups for stuff that's gonna happen. Hopefully, maybe in sequels. So yeah, just Turtles Mutant Mayhem, just an absolute joy for Turtles fans. It's just like, and it's such a new fun take on the Turtles, and it just shows like how like versatile the Turtles are. Where it's like, you know, 20, 30 years later since the Turtles got created, and still there's still like new interesting takes you could put on them. So yeah, Mutant Mayhem just absolute blast. My number five movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Easily the best MCU thing of the year. I mean, Loki was pretty good. What If is really good. But as far as the movies, I mean, nothing comes close to Guardians Volume 3. And it was just a great send off for the characters because this is James Gunn's last time probably directing anything in the MCU because he's gonna be fully involved, like invested in DC from this point on. And we probably won't see some of these characters like possibly ever again. And it's just such a great, like all the characters that we love, like they get like one or two like great scenes to like really like define them or highlight what makes them special. Especially Rocket because we get like the full brutal backstory about him and his like ill-fated animal friends and but I mean all the characters like have like at least one or two moments or more where they get like they get to shine and the entire cast is fantastic as always. There's some fantastic action sequences like this the scene like the hallway fight scene where the Guardians are like reunited and they're fighting to Beastie Boys is just like one of the best MCU action sequences of all time. And just it's super heartfelt and super touching, but also like super hilarious. Like it's just everything you could want from a Guardians movie is here, and it's a great kind of like final goodbye to these characters or most of these characters possibly, and to James Gunn in the MCU as he moves on to DC. So yeah, Guardians Volume 3. I mean, it was not a great year for superhero stuff in general, but that was one of the best superhero things of this year. My number four movie of the year is Godzilla minus one. A recent pick. I just saw it a couple weeks ago, but one of the best Godzilla movies of all time. Just an absolutely fantastic giant monster movie. Um, and it does something that I think a lot of people have like been wanting from Godzilla movies for since they came out, or since they've been, uh, especially in recent years, where the human characters in this movie are as compelling and interesting as Godzilla himself. Because normally it's like you have Godzilla, who we all love and we all like love seeing on screen, and every time every Godzilla sequence in every Godzilla movie is fantastic and funny, or it's either funny or scary or exciting. But then when anything in between where it's not Godzilla or not Godzilla fighting a another giant monster is kind of just like scene filler or just kind of boring or interesting or kind of just like we want to get to like the next Godzilla scene. But Godzilla minus one has like actual like compelling, interesting characters that are like they have like actual like human drama and emotion, and you actually care about them, which really like that adds to like the Godzilla sequences because like if the character if you care about a character and then they're like fleeing for their lives from Godzilla, it's like you actually like there's more stakes because it's like oh this character I like might get killed by Godzilla, so that just like adds even more to like the Godzilla sequences, and so it's just over that it's just such an over like it's you haven't really seen that before in Godzilla movies, and it's so great to see like these like actual humans uh and like even if Godzilla wasn't in there, it'd still be like this like compelling drama about this guy trying to deal with like his PTSD and like post World War Japan trying to rebuild. But then it just happens to have like bombastic, huge Godzilla monster action as well. And the Godzilla action is fantastic. Like, it's some of the best Godzilla sequences in recent memory, and then like this Godzilla is just so terrifying. Like, it's like one of the scariest Godzillas in recent memory as well. Like his fire breath or his nuclear breath is just like when it happens, it's like it's always just like this like uh you're just like, oh shit, like things are gonna get bad because like it generates like actual nuclear explosions, and there's such a build up to like when it's gonna happen because his like spikes start like popping out of his back and like his back starts going blue, and so it's just this such great tension of like the build up and the release, and then like it's just like utter destruction, and also just like a lot of like interesting Godzilla sequences, like like there's like a whole sequence where Godzilla's like swimming behind a boat, like Jaws style, and they're like these guys in the boat try to like stop him and like throw mines at him and trying to stop, like they have like basically no weapons, but they have to figure out a way to stop him any way they can. So just super inventive, unique takes on Godzilla and like Godzilla like sequences, and extremely interesting, dramatic, emotional human characters. Like it's everything you could possibly want from a Godzilla movie. So definitely, if you're a Godzilla fan, and you have not seen Godzilla minus one, rush out, see it, check it out. It's incredible. My number three movie of the year is Extraction 2, which is one of the greatest action movies of all time. Like it's just they somehow took everything that was great about the first one, which is already just over the top, awesome action movie with like these incredible one takes, and then just ramps everything up to like the next level for Extraction 2. Um, and just another great like physical performance for Chris Hemsworth. Like the plot wise, not nothing interesting or too interesting. Like it's just like the same kind of like I'm sad about my son kind of stuff. But when Chris Hemsworth is in action mode in this movie, it is awesome. Like the prisoners, and then the action sequences are these like huge, chunky, extended like 20-30 minute sequences that are always just ramping up and building, and um but like they never over it doesn't feel like they're like over long or overstaying their welcome because it's always some new elements that get introduced, or like they're like moving from like one setting to another setting. And just like the first action sequence where it's like they infiltrate a prison and there's a prison riot, and then they like escape from the prison, then like on a train, and it's all shot. It's supposed to be like one take, even though they probably faked it like digitally, or there's no way it was like one take. um, I mean, if it was, it's like one of the most impressive scenes of all time. But just the way it's shot to look like one take, and then you're like never out of the action. You're always just like on Chris Hemsworth's hip, basically, is just insane. And then it just there's multiple sequences in this movie that were it's just like as insane. And I also love that they gave like Golshifteh Farahani, like Nick Khan, like Chris Hemsworth's like main like his main ally, like his main like contacts. Um, she gets like to do as much as almost as much as like Chris Hemsworth, or even like the equal amount of stuff as him, and like just gets to kick like tons of ass in this movie too, which is just 'cause she got to do it like a little bit in the first movie, but like this it's just awesome to hear just like in there side by side with Chris Hemsworth, like just doing the same kind of like awesome badass shit. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's if John Wick Chapter 4 did not come out, which we'll get to in a little bit, but if that had not come out, like this would have been like possibly number one. Like it's just so awesome. It's so badass. Like just the level of action, the choreography, the like set pieces is just insane. So Extraction 2, um, keep them coming. Extraction 3, whatever else we want to. Extraction Time Infinity. Let's just keep them coming. My number two movie of the year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, top tier, the pinnacle of animation. Like currently, it's every scene is incredible. Every scene looks it's what they do with the animation is just stunning. Like every world they visit is a totally different art style with different colors and different like ways of looking, and just how they cram every style of animation you could possibly think of, where it's like CG and traditional 2D animation and like live action, and then like video game characters and like Atari sprites, and just like every possible animation style, and like or like style of like anything you could jam into this. They just jam it all together, and it shouldn't work, but it does, and it works awesome. And it's just like they don't try to like make everything look the same. It's just like if the character came from a game. They look like they're from the game. They look like they're from a '90s cartoon. They're from a '90s cartoon. Like, and just like the first movie, and I mean, this is just a love letter to Spider-Man. Like, if you're a Spider-Man fan, there's so much jammed in here. Like, this is a movie where you're like for years you're just gonna, like just keep watching it, pausing, and trying to find like all the Easter eggs and all the like background characters and all the like references, and it just like blows up the kind of like the premise of like the multiverse to like new levels where instead of Miles getting visited by the multiverse in his universe, now we're like jumping to like other universes and seeing like other universes in the Spider-Man universe. And all the new characters are great. Like, I mean, Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, like, is fantastic as a villain. Although hopefully, because I love Miguel Spider-Man 29 so much in the comics, like I hope he gets like some sort of like turn, or he like realizes the error of his ways and becomes a good guy again. Because I would hate to be him to just be like this like full-on villain for like the next movie. And yeah, and then like great stuff with like fleshing out and having Spider Gwen have way more to do, and then she and Miles both have like these like interesting arcs in the movie and like interesting character growth, and then also just like this what they do with the Spot with like Jason Schwartzman, where it's like he starts out and he's like this like absolutely just like goofy throwaway dumb villain, and then he becomes like this like eldritch, like Lovecraftian, overarching, like world multiverse ending threat is just like such a great, like unexpected build up. So I mean, Spider Verse is incredible. Like the only downside to it is we're probably gonna have like a long waits till like the finale. Um, but I cannot wait until the third movie comes out, and I'll probably definitely like rewatch this one a couple times, probably in the time before that one comes out, just like re-experiencing it, like see stuff I missed, and just like just relive in that world again, just to like see everything going on. So Across the Spider Verse, another triumph from Sony Animation. And then my number one movie I mentioned a little bit ago, but John Wick Chapter 4. I mean, one of the greatest action movies of all time. Like 20, 30 years from now, when we're talking about like greatest action movies of the time, this is gonna be on the list. This is it's just the level of choreography, the level of like action sequence, set sequence design, and just like what are like how the action sequences evolve, and like what is like all like the fighting and the shootouts, and just like everything about it is just top tier. You've never seen anything like it. It's just like absolutely incredible. Um, and it's all just like super extended. Like it's like these like huge extended sequence, like 20-30 minutes of like Keanu Reeves just like constantly just fighting guys, and it never gets boring. It's always evolving. It's always changing. It's always adding a different like John runs out of bullets. He grabs nunchucks. The like a knife breaks. He grabs like a club, or like he grabs a sword. It's just like all the locations where these actually take place are incredible. Like the opening, the huge opening sequence in like the Osaka Continental. So it's all like samurai stuff and Japanese um, neon backgrounds, and then like Scott Adkins like nightclub in Russia with like all like the indoor waterfalls, and then I mean the Paris staircase sequence. I mean that is like just my jaw was on the floor for that, and my jaw was on the ground for like most of this movie, just like seeing like cannot believe what I'm seeing, and like the level of action that we're experiencing in this movie. And I was talking about like Expendables 4 earlier. Like this, the John Wick series like is like get understands what action fans want, and like what they're like excited gets them excited, because like there's no Megan Fox, there's no 50 Cent in the movie. This is there's people like you want to see like Marco Zaror and Scott Adkins, and like actual awesome martial artists and action stars and stunt guys, and just like everything about the John Wick universe is incredible. And yeah, they somehow like every movie ramps up, and like we watched John Wick Chapter 3. It's like there's no way they can top this. Like this is just like the most insane action we've ever seen. And then 4 comes out, and it tops everything, ups the ante, ups everything from to like Chapter 3, and it's just like I don't know how they where they go from here. I mean, the way this movie ends, like I kind of hope this is the end, because it's such a perfect end for John's story. But I mean, like made a bunch of money, so like they'll probably figure out they're gonna figure out some way to like keep it going. I mean, we're getting like I think we're getting this year like for 2024 we're getting Ballerina, which is the spinoff with Anna de Armas, which I'm excited for, and hopefully is like the level of action in that movie is as good as like these movies. And we got the Continental, which is perfectly fine, fun prequel to the universe, even though it kind of like didn't have quite the same level like John Wickness to it. Like it didn't have like that underworld kind of like comic booky where everyone knows like everyone seems it's kind of more generic a little bit. But yeah, I mean another Keanu Reeves one. I don't know how like hopefully if they were gonna do it, they're gonna figure out some like compelling way to do it because if it's some terrible way to like if they bring him back in like some terrible way, then it's just gonna be kind of like really like terrible way to like terrible the character, terrible like the legacy of this movie. I kind of hope I hope like this is like these four movies are just like an awesome one huge epic storyline, and then like I would be more excited to see like more stuff in this universe. Maybe not necessarily from John Wick Keanu, but we'll have to see. But for this year, John Wick Chapter 4, just mind blowing, jaw dropping on every level, like just incredible. We're gonna be talking about this movie for decades to come. And then a couple honorable mentions for best movies of the year. Just want to give a shout out to Cobweb, just a really nasty, fun little horror movie. Blue Beetle, definitely the best DC EU movie, where it didn't really do anything too original or unique, but it was a fun origin story in the vein of like Spider-Man or something like that. The Marvels, it it was a horrific bomb at the box office, but it was just a fun um, MCU movie, small scale, or it kind of felt smaller scale. It was more about this like trio of characters. It did not jive with anything that came before it really, except for Miss Marvel, but on its own it was fun. Um, Megan or M3gan, which basically kicked off the year. Especially the unrated cut. That was just a fun, weird, like snarky horror movie. Like Megan is gonna be like a new horror icon on the veins of like Chucky, or I hope she's like a new icon on the vein of Chucky because that character is great, and then lots of just fun, stuff that happens in that movie with like kills and like it had like a really like fun like snarky sense of humor. Creed 3, um, another solid entry in the Creed franchise, and some interesting new visual stuff from Michael B. Jordan directing wise. Evil Dead Rise, another like fun nasty horror movie, a fun entry, like a fun new kind of like side entry in the Evil Dead franchise, and hopefully like if they're going this like anthology series kind of direction now with Evil Dead, like and this is like the kind of like the tone of it, I'm definitely on board for like other entries in the series now. Barbie, I know a lot of people are probably like, this is like their number one movie. I watched it. It was fun. It was funny. Um, I don't like not quite up to like the hype level for me, but just like I definitely understand like why people loved it, and it's like great performances. Like Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie are just like incredible in it. Like just so funny. So it's just it was a little too on the nose at times for me. Like it's just like so obvious. Like they're like so blunt in what they're trying to do, which I guess is the point. But um, it was just like a fun and like just lots. I love all this like this surreal kind of like meta humor of like like you have to like sing the like that Indigo Girls song every time you leave Barbie World, and you have to do like these like very specific actions like leave or enter Barbie World and stuff, and then no, like all like the references to like actual like weird Barbie past like Alan and Midge and all that stuff. So it was definitely fun. I know, and I know a lot of people had like way higher on their list, but I definitely thought it was like a really good, funny movie. The creator, the Gareth, I think it's Gareth Edwards. I was confused Gareth Edwards and Gareth Evans. But I think it was Gareth Edwards who did Godzilla and Rogue One. But very cool sci-fi movie. Like maybe not like most unique story wise, or like like you'll see plot points like from miles away. But visually, like what he was able to do with that budget and like just like the world building of that movie is incredible. Definitely, if you've not seen that, check that out on like Disney Plus or Hulu. I think is where you can check it out. Um, Equalizer 3, really like brutal, cool end to like that Denzel Equalizer trilogy. Um, it actually makes Denzel and like his like Equalizer character more of like a horror villain, or like in like he's like because he's not really engaging in like direct fights anymore, but like he's like more like stalking from the shadows and like just like killing people like Jason Voorhees or like Michael Myers style. So that was like a cool like kind of fun twist on that that kind of like action movie like red movie thing where it's just like he's just like this like shadowy presence where like guys will enter a room like five people are dead and they have no idea how they're dead or why they're dead. It's just like and then Denzel will like come in with like a fire poker to stab someone in the face with it or something. And then last Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, um, probably way too long. Way too much CG maybe or like it's plot wise it was kind of like didn't really there's some like weirdness like of like there were characters that like they built up and they kind of like didn't do anything with and like plots they kind of didn't really go anywhere, but in general it was definitely better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it was a decent finale kind of ending for Indiana Jones. Like I would definitely prefer this over Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as like the final Indiana Jones movie. But yeah, it was way too long. I mean, it did not need to be 2.5 hours long. It could have been like 2 hours or like 90 minutes or something, and you could have had like a really tight, fun adventure movie. But I mean, it's not bad. Still, like, if you have not seen it yet, check it out on Disney Plus. And yeah, that's it for me for this year. There's a lot of weirdness with like the strikes and uh, and like streaming services consolidating and like stuff like just like getting canceled, never coming out, like Batgirl or like potentially Coyote versus Acme. All these other projects are like getting like canceled and removed from streaming services, and you'll never see them, or you can never see them again because they were honest service, and then they to save money they're like gone now. So a lot of weird influx entertainment stuff going on. But as far as movies go, I think this is mostly like a pretty solid year. And yeah, so that'll do it for this year of Everything Action, Everything Action Cast. Come back next week because it's gonna be a new year, new format. We are gonna try something different for 2024, and every week starting next week on the podcast, we're gonna be diving into a new movie and kind of going deep dive and kind of like digging into our favorite scenes and favorite moments and kind of like some fun trivia, and it's gonna be it's gonna be stuff related to like stuff that's coming out or like having anniversaries or just some of our fun like our favorites or like hidden gems that we think people should check out. And we're gonna kick things off next week with Yes Madam, the Michelle Yeoh, Cynthia Rothrock like martial arts classic because Michelle Yeoh is in a new Netflix show that's gonna debut next week, The Brother's Son, that's her latest movie, latest project. We're gonna go all the way back to the beginning to her first starring role and talk about Yes Madam and Cynthia Rothrock's insane British accent, British dubbing, and all the crazy action, and then like Michelle Yeoh's like badass introduction to like being like a action martial arts star. So that's gonna kick off the new era of Everything Action Cast next week. So come back. I think you can watch Yes Madam on Prime Video, I think. So if you want to watch it and then listen to our podcast, do that. And then every week after that, we're gonna like dive into other movies and possibly other TV shows. I know when X-Men '97 comes out, we're definitely gonna talk about X-Men the animated series. And probably talk about our favorite episodes and stuff like that. So lots of fun stuff, lots of new stuff coming to the Everything Action Cast this year. So come back next week and then every week after that and check out what we're doing. And we're still gonna have our commentary months. So definitely come back every month for our commentary. We haven't really talked about it yet, but I'm gonna guess probably something Statham related because he's got that crazy, insane new movie called The Beekeeper coming out. So we'll watch a Statham movie or watch something else next month for commentary. But yeah, check all it out. And then come to the site, check all of our usual stuff out. Hit up our social media. We're on X/Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the big ones, and everything.com for the sites. And yeah, so that'll wrap things up for this episode. And yeah, we'll see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.